Welcome to Pinsari Basketball Live. The Toronto Raptors head out onto the road, show up late. They get into Minnesota late, and it showed. They came out a little bit sluggish, but a career night for Gradey Dick, who finishes the game with 25 points. That was a career high for him, and it only took 3 games into the season, and a really tough game for the Toronto Raptors. But if you are being realistic, the idea of trying to win this game after how much you exhausted yourself last night was absurd. So the fact that the Toronto Raptors kept it relatively close, they were still technically in it in the fourth quarter, as per the numbers would tell you they were in it. But if you follow basketball, you know that this was never really in doubt, right? I mean, you knew that, right? I mean, going into this, you knew this was never going to be in doubt. And there was some positives that came out of this game, and we're going to talk about them. And there's some film that we're going to break down in this game. We're definitely going to talk about that. And if you're new around here, please hit like and subscribe and all that good stuff. And if you want to call in, there's already one caller waiting. So if you want to call in, please link is in the description. The way the show is going to go is as follows. We're going to talk about the key takeaways. We're going to talk about some overarching themes. We're going to talk about the stats. Then we're going to go into the film breakdown. We're going to break down some very, very interesting parts of this game, which show a lot of bad for Scottie Barnes and a lot of good for Scottie Barnes. Good for Jamison Battle, good for Gradey Dick, a lot of good for Jonathan Mobo. There's a lot of good and bad mixed into this, and that's going to be them's the breaks when you go up against a fully healthy team that is expecting to contend, and you are as depleted as the Toronto Raptors were. There was some mention of potentially RJ Barrett suiting up for this game that unfortunately was nixed at 6 o'clock when he was listed as out. And I think an RJ Barrett would have really helped in this game because the Raptors really struggled to score in the first half, and it was brutal. Let's take a look quickly at who did what. Okay, so from if you're going to look at the box score tomorrow, you're going to say Scottie Barnes had 20 points, 8 rebounds, 6 assists, 6 turnovers, 4 fouls, 9 for 19. That's not that bad. I'm going to tell you this. It was a terrible game for Scottie. Terrible game for Scottie. And I hope he knows that. I think he does know that, though. Where you shone, where the players really, really, I'll tell you my three players that really stood out as playing well above their heads. You're gonna be very surprised. Number one, Ochai Agbaji. What a game from Ochai, right? Like just consistent. He even hit 3 3-pointers. All that work that he and Gradey put in Kansas over the summer is really paying off. Gradey Dick. I mean, that floater might have touched the sky. And we're going to take a look at that floater. It was incredible. The one over Rudy Gobert's outstretched arms, and there was a pull-up jumper fadeaway over Rudy Gobert. Bro, like I was joking about the Michael Jordan stuff, but he did some Jordan stuff tonight. And I got to tell you, like, I really like Jamison Battle's game. I thought a lot of smart cuts, even though his shot wasn't nearly falling as much. And the Minnesota Timberwolves just kept losing him. But I'm going to give my third player of the game. This is going to sound crazy. Bruno Fernando. Can I give Bruno Fernando some love after giving him so much criticism over the last 2 weeks, saying cut the guy, send him out of the country, send him out of the planet, blah, blah, blah. All the negative stuff. Look, man, he played his butt off tonight. I think he actually won his minutes for the first time. And it's weird because when he checked into the game for the first time, the Raptors were already down like 12. And I was like, oh boy, usually the starters win their minutes. And then Bruno and Chris come in and they lose the minutes. So I was like, oh my God. In the first quarter, when the Raptors got down by almost 20, I think that was around how much they got down by. Let's just take a look here. It felt like it definitely touched 20. Like I'm going to feel like, where do we go? Where we go? 32-16, right? Like you were teetering. There was definitely a moment. 37-22, 40-22. Yeah, that's about as bad as it got. And then the Raptors tried to close the gap in the middle of the second. But this was like, are we teetering on a 40-point blowout here? It really looked like we were. And if you're the Toronto Raptors and you want to take one thing that you lost this game on, it is almost absolutely turnovers. So many turnovers, moving screens, dropped passes, silly fouls, offensive fouls, blown opportunity after blown opportunity. I know you will not believe me if you didn't watch this game yourself. I know you won't believe me, but I think the Raptors actually had a chance in this game. And they blew it. They blew it because there's a lot of things they need to clean up. Frankly, they're playing very fast right now, and Jakob Poeltl is dropping the ball a lot. And I don't like his precision with the basketball. I haven't loved Scottie's precision with the basketball, you cannot get a scoring night from Davion Mitchell where he's a complete zero on the offense. He made up a lot of mistakes, and we're going to take a look at some of those mistakes. I think the film breakdown is going to be very illuminating in terms of things the Raptors need to clean up. But man, like the broadcast crew is just insanely biased. Like I actually slowed some of these clips down for you guys that we loaded up just so you could see the truth versus the fiction of it. After a brilliant game from Jonathan Mobo, he gets 9 minutes, and I didn't fully understand that because I don't necessarily think he was bad in his minutes out there. I don't necessarily understand why he would have received fewer minutes, so I'm really looking forward to maybe someone asking that question in the post game. Like, what did he do that DJ Carton is getting 9 minutes? Because I don't necessarily think DJ Carton was that great, and, you can make a case that Chris Boucher had a positive impact in terms of energy and crashing the glass and stuff, but man, some shot selection was abysmal, right? So, yeah, Grim Reaper saying he darted 2 cross-court passes to Boucher and he clanked them both. Well, you know what? Sometimes it matters that you know your teammates. Scottie knows Chris Boucher. He knows that if he gives him a shot, he is not going to pass that up. And Chris Boucher knows that too. And that's the way your offense works. So if you know Chris Boucher is not passing up that shot and you want to find a better shot, that's on you, right? I'm actually really looking forward to the film breakdown. This one, I want to tell you, like it's gonna be very eye popping for you guys. On the Wolves side, you hold Anthony Edwards to 9 for 21 shooting. A lot of that is on Ochai. A lot of that is on Davion. Some of it is on Scottie, but not a lot. And I think that's a credit. That's a win. If you can hold a top 20 scorer, top 20 player at least, and some people allege he's the future face of the league, and he wasn't exactly having a bad game. He had a pretty decent game. If you can hold him to 24 points, 6 rebounds, 4 assists, 4 turnovers, you could actually make a case that he and Scottie were not that different. Their games felt different, but their box score impact did not feel all that different. It's like maybe 80%, right? It's 80% similar. So I would say that's credit to your defense overall. But of course, you had a monster game from Rudy Gobert, right? 15 points, 12 rebounds. You had another solid Julius Randle game. That makes back-to-back Julius Randle games solid. 24 points, 9 rebounds, 5 assists. And Dante DiVincenzo just got unconscious, right? Unconscious. He cooled down later, but early on, it was a backbreaker in the first half. Dante DiVincenzo really, really carried a lot of those minutes. Nikhil Alexander Walker exits the game at some point, and Naz Reid, typical Naz Reid game, 10 points, 4 rebounds. Overall, I mean, you take a look, and this is one of the best defensive teams in the league, and you shot 34.5% from three and nearly 46% from three from the field. Given your lack of offensive talent, given how much Jamison Battle and Chris Boucher had cold shooting nights, I would say that's a win. The fact that Gradey was shooting so far above his head and Ochai shot so far above his head pretty much washed those out. What you maybe needed tonight was a really great Scottie game, and you didn't get it. You didn't get a great Scottie game. You also didn't clip that mark of 30 assists that Darko has been talking about. You haven't had it. And it's really hard to generate assists when guys don't make shots. You matched them on the steals, 9 for 9, which was great, right? In terms of turnovers, 20 points, including 27 points conceded off of turnovers. That's the game. That is the game. Your transition defense, your turnovers, your live ball turnovers, that's the goddamn game right there. In terms of points in the paint, you beat them in points in the paint, and they have Julius Randle and Anthony Edwards. There's no reason you should beat them in points in the paint. They led by 22. The Raptors closed it to within, I want to say 6 in the fourth quarter. It was around 6. So it was like, it's right there. So Raptors got it to 98-105 on a Scottie Barnes dunk with 122 to go. That's like, you're really stretching it there. And then, of course, right towards the end of the game, Scottie takes a 3, misses, gets his own rebound, tries to go for a dunk, gets stuffed at the rim. Like, it was just tough. It was a really tough night for Scottie. Really tough night for Scottie. Trying to navigate space, trying to make passes. I didn't like his energy overall tonight, but he turned it up late. Like you could feel like when he got that foul on the reach in, you could feel like he was really starting to press. Like he wanted this game badly. When it got to within 8, within 5 minutes, that's when he was like, okay, I need him to do that earlier in the game. I understand there's a possession early in the game where he's just kind of surveying, and he's not even looking at the basket. You got to be a threat to score, man. Maybe there's some caution from years past where he's gotten injured early in the season, took a nick or a bruise. It's a long season. He's got a game plan for this season. I guarantee you he's going to have much, 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 much better games than this throughout the season. Yesterday, I said was an average game. This was a subpar game. The opening night was a subpar game. So if you are keeping track through 3 games, Scottie Barnes has had 2 subpar games and an average game. We have not seen a good Scottie game yet. I'm positive we will see one. I'm positive that the shot will come around. I'm positive that when you get a little bit more help with IQ and RJ, it's going to get a hell of a lot better. Right now, it's really tough to score. It's really tough to create advantages out of nothing. It's really difficult to make passes to guys who cannot hold the basketball. It's really difficult to find space when guys are cutting into your driving lanes. It's crazy. What the Raptors are doing right now is absolutely insane. Again, film breakdown is going to be very illuminating to this, but watching this, it does not look like coherent basketball. It looks crazy basketball. So that means that the Raptors basically did this on fumes of energy. A lot of it was just energy. Overall, big takeaways. Gradey Dick looks very good. There's no way in hell that he can make some of the plays that he made tonight last year. It just did not seem possible, right? The Raptors go pretty deep into the bench. Everyone played except for Garrett Temple and Over Shamshay. They get 9 minutes out of DJ Carton. I'm not really sure. DJ Carton, Davion Mitchell, tough night for Jamal Shed. I would say, with the turnover, there was one turnover that was a little bit tough. Just, I wouldn't say tough night, but an average night for Jamal Shed. Again, he had some good he had some good moments. He had some tough moments. He had moments where he missed passes that typically I was seeing him make on previous nights. Then he had a couple where it's like, wow, he just put that up over Rudy Gobert. That's really amazing. That's like great angling at the rim. Jamison Battle, again, I love what he provides, and I love this synergy that he has with Scottie. We mentioned it in yesterday's live. I think there's a really good reason to convert him to a full contract and try to take benefit of this. I think six rebounds, 9 points. I mean, that's 3 straight games you've put him in, and 3 straight games in which he's been relatively positive for you. Again, 1 for 4 from 3. That's luck of the draw, man. Sometimes he'll shoot 3 for 3. Sometimes he'll shoot 3 for 4. Sometimes he'll shoot 1 for 4. But they're good shots. They're smart cuts. He's just a really smart player. Okay, let's take a look at some of the film because I think it's going to be very illuminating for you guys to see just what this looks like. Hang on one second. Okay. One sec. What are we doing here? Okay, let's do this. Okay. All right. So let's start at the beginning and then we'll work towards the end. There's a lot of plays to break down. Give me one second here. Also, if you would like to call in link is in the description. And yeah, okay. So bad start. This is a possession by Scottie Barnes in which I felt like he just did not look at the basket at all. And that's tough. Just look at how the defense reacts to this play with Scottie having the ball. Okay. So, you get the yak screen. He's going downhill. This, you have to attack. You have to attack. You have to be looking at the rim. He's not even looking at the rim. And then here, you have a pass to Yak if Yak is even looking for the pass, but neither of these players are actually looking to score right now, which is ridiculous because Naz Reid has been the Julius Randle is sort of picked off, and Julius Randle's a terrible defender. Now, if you're Yak, why the hell are you posting up here? Like it's so dysfunctional what you're doing. Like this is just a team that is not connected. I mean, does this look like basketball to you? Does this look like a team that understands what the fuck they're doing on offense? And now the ball is reset to Davion Mitchell, which is like basically a wasted possession. And he is going to do absolutely nothing but hand the ball back to Scottie. And what's Scottie going to do? Scottie's going to do the exact same thing, but now from the right side of the floor. Once again, not looking to score, Because right now, this is a dunk, but he's going to try to make this very tough pass to Grady, and it's going to go out of bounds, right? This is how you started the game, and it is terrible. Okay, let's move on past that. Okay, this is a Davion Mitchell absolute disaster class. Watch this. Okay, all right, let's take a look here. I think I muted everything in terms of the audio so that we don't get any strikes. But again, let's slow this down and let's watch this out. Okay, so here's Davion. Make this full screen. Okay, here's Davion. Okay. Now, Mike Conley is probably out of position to recover to a bigger player like Gradey Dick. How you destroy an advantage is by throwing a terrible pass. And this is a terrible pass. Ziggsaw Puzzle saying, Rob, mute your Twitter to be safe. Is there any sound coming from Twitter? I don't think there should be at all. Anyways, look at this pass. That's a terrible pass. And when you throw a pass this far off target, now Mike Conley has completely recovered. And now Grady has lost his advantage and has to reset back to Davion Mitchell, who is then going to once again struggle and then is going to do the unthinkable here, which is to try and take a layup floater over Anthony Edwards, which gets blocked to Jakob Poeltl, and then Jakob Poeltl takes a floater, which misses as well. So, I mean, honestly, this is how you waste possessions. This is how you waste advantages. Grady is quick enough on the release to launch over Mike Conley, but not if you throw it at his ankle. You can't do that. Okay, here's another one, and this is another Davion Mitchell, play, and I'm going to tell you, it was not good. Okay, here we go. Like this video for more video breakdowns, both positive and negative. And believe me, we're gonna get to a lot of negative Scottie Barnes stuff. And hopefully it's something that we can all learn from. Okay, here, Scottie passes to Davion Mitchell. Okay. Now, Davion should pass right here. There's an opening to pass. Ochai is a great cutter. He's a great athlete. He's gonna miss this pass. I don't know how you don't throw this pass. This is ridiculous. Okay. Throw it even now. You have a 1.5 second window in which your brain is basically just frozen. How can you not make this pass? Like, this is the type of offense that makes you absolutely lose your mind because you're watching the shit in real time and you're just imagining how frustrating it must be for Ochai Agbaji to work this hard to beat Jaden McDaniels on the floor and not receive this pass. It's fucking nuts. I'm sorry to swear, but this is not a point guard. You cannot be a point guard on any level. You can make this pass in your sleep. Okay. So you don't make that pass, and instead you make this pass. Now the paint is congested, and Grady is going to go 3-on-1. And by the way, you're in the way, not realizing Ochai is kind of in the way. Hopefully, Ochai is going to get out of the way here. Ochai's smart. Ochai is smart, man. Good for you, Ochai Agbaji. He's not a dumbass. But now Grady has to go up against contested paint, and he's going to miss. I mean, you can make a case that Grady probably should finish that, but really, why? And here's here's Scottie Barnes doing something crazy. Okay. I mean, he makes this pass. I mean, sorry, he makes this basket, but like, what are we doing here? Okay. So here's Scottie, and Jameson Battle's going to set a screen here. And just look at that shot clock just bleeding out. Just bleeding out. And there's nothing. There's just nothing. Jameson Battle wants to set a screen. He can't. And then Scottie's just going. Look, Scottie can beat maybe one layer of the defense. He cannot beat 2 layers of the defense. And I'll guarantee you he cannot beat 3 layers of the defense when one of those layers is Rudy Gobert and the first layer is Jaden McDaniels. You're just, I don't know 10 players in the league who can do this. And definitely Scottie is not one of them. So to do this, first of all, he just carried. So he just traveled. And I Bruno Fernando makes this, but now Scottie is going to get almost a turnover and up. And He miraculously makes this, and that's just, good on him for making it. It's just terrible offense. It is awful offense. Like, I cannot even explain to you how batshit crazy that entire offensive possession was. Okay. Now, here is a great possession by Scottie where he was really assertive. My big beef with Scottie during this game was he did not look very assertive coming out. And with your team this depleted and undermanned going up against, it's almost like you're Michael Jordan and these are, the Looney Tunes. Okay. And they're looking at you like, come on, man, beat the Monstars. That's basically it here because you're the only person who has the size to actually play against this team. Everybody else on your team is honestly physically not capable of playing against this team. So here we go. You find Dante DiVincenzo, you attack early, but look at all of this attention that you're getting here. This is why, to people on Twitter right now saying, Scottie's an asshole, Scottie's like, bro, look at what he's doing here. Like, how do you even score on this? Like, I don't know a lot of players who can score on this, and he's not going to make this basket. But great read by Jamison Battle. And oh, by the way, great hands by Jamison Battle and quick read by Jamison Battle and not overextending or doing something silly like throwing it out to Chris Boucher. Just simple, man, simple basketball. I love this synergy between these two. Like it's great. Okay. This is just great, great read by Jamison Battle. You could say Scottie created that. I would say Scottie and Jamison Battle created that. Okay. Jonathan Mobo. Look, again, I do not understand why he did not get more minutes, but let me show you why I would have played him more minutes. Look at this. He steals the ball from Julius Randle after a one-on-one play in which Julius Randle thought he had him beat. He steals it away. And now, instead of wasting this possession and dribbling the air out of the basketball and resetting, he finds DJ Carton, who's a really good athlete, streaking in transition. And Carton is actually going to get to the line and one. Oh no, he didn't get to the line there. Just a basket. But you know what? On a night where you couldn't score, this is the type of opportunity you cannot waste. And good on Jonathan Mobile for not wasting it. Okay. Now, this one is very interesting, and this is one of a few. Now, please comment in the chat who is this turnover on? Because I heard Jack Armstrong say this is on Scottie, and I just need you to tell me, is this a bad pass by Scottie? We need to know. Or is this Jakob Poeltl being very unassertive with the basketball? Or you can say both. You can say both. You can say it's on both. If you want my honest opinion, and I'm going to give you my honest opinion after, but I would just love to hear your opinion. You're seeing the play on screen. Who's this turnover on? Boom, 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 boom. Yep, that's it. It's both. It took both. It takes two to tango. Every pass is your responsibility, yes. But sometimes I'll give you a perfect pass and you're just going to have a brain fart and drop it, and I'm going to get blamed for it. Maybe next time I don't pass you the basketball. Now I just freeze you out and I try to go Michael Jordan, Bill Cartwright. Michael Jordan froze out Bill Cartwright because he kept dropping fucking passes in practice. So maybe Scottie got to give Jakob the Bill Cartwright treatment if he keeps doing this shit. Like, bro, wake up, Jakob Poeltl. And you know what? Scottie Barnes has to see the help. So this is like one of 4 turnovers with Scottie that was like that. Sen B saying too risky a pass. Why even try that, bro? It's not too risky a pass. You have the seal. You're a 7-footer. You clearly have an angle to make this pass. I don't think it's a bad pass. Personally, I think it's every pass is at least partially your fault. Like if it's a turnover, it's at least partially your fault. You should have known better, etc. But this is a perfectly makeable pass. You're going to see another pass later. That's a perfectly makeable pass. And you're going to see the guy just fucking drop it. And it's like, yes, sometimes it's a bad pass. Sometimes it's off target. Like for instance, when Davion Mitchell threw that pass to Gradey, it's a miracle Gradey caught it. But if Gradey hadn't caught it, it's not on Gradey. It's on Davion for throwing an off target pass. So in this case, who the hell is this on? I would argue Jakob needs to open his eyes. It's not the first time or the second time or the third time I've seen him do this. He's been doing it all preseason. And I'm like, am I having amnesia with Jakob Poeltl? Was he doing this all along and I didn't know? Like, what the hell is going on with him? It's not just pass. It's not just from Scottie. It's from everybody. He's dropping passes all over the place. He's throwing basketballs all over the floor. I'm like, bro, we need an alcohol test here. Are you drunk? Are you playing drunk? Because some of the passes that he threw like a couple of days ago, I was just like, whoa, like how off target are you? Like what is going on here? So Jakob Poeltl is not just disappointing. It's just weird. I don't understand how unfocused you can be to have this kind of mistake. And now Scottie gets the blame for me, which is you can't just stand there. Like your man is going downhill. Jamal Shed is trying to get back, and you are hanging your head, right? Like, sure, you trail back and you slowly jog back, but like you got to sprint, bro. Like you threw the pass, you get back. So not great for Scottie, not great for Yak. They both look like fools on that one. Okay. Now, good, bad with Scottie. Here's something good. This was great. This was a play to end the half. Scottie in isolation with 16 seconds to go. We click down to 9 when he starts to get into his move, which is good because he could have waited longer, and I think that would have been a mistake. So he knows exactly how to attack. Julius Randle, again, not the greatest defender, but you have help behind him, right? And sometimes the teams will put their worst team defender on the ball and help a lot. And that's what they did here. And so Dante DiVincenzo gets switched on, and Scottie beats him. Julius overcommits, and everybody loses Jamison battle. But this is Scottie Barnes. Now, y'all know when I said accurate passes, inaccurate passes, look at that pass. Bro, look at that pass. That is off the move. Do you understand how much skill and precision and hand-eye coordination it takes to deliver a pass like that? There aren't 10 players who can do that regularly. Scottie does this shit regularly. He's throwing 10 passes a game that are honestly mind-boggling. So if you get the game, you understand the game, you know he didn't have a great game, but he also has moments like this where you're like, ah, that's why he's a superstar. Okay. And Jameson Battle, once again, doesn't complicate it. Quick up, boom. Perfect. So you get good players, you get good players around him, you get smart players who can actually read the floor, and you're going to get something great. Now, here's something really good that Jakob did because I'm shitting on Jakob a lot today. So let's say something good he did. Great screen from Yak. So first, Gradey, little give there, and then a little bit of screen, and then Jakob, great screen to get Jaden McDaniels off, and then Gradey Dick just nets this. Great play. That was a set play, if I'm not mistaken. All right. Now, here is Gradey Dick being a star. Okay. And I'm not even stretching when I say this. He was friggin' awesome. Like this floater over Rudy Gobert, just like that was awesome. Like hand in the face, super high, awesome. That was just a brilliant one. And then this one, I don't even know which one was more impressive. Maybe I wish I had a co-host who could run a poll right now. Like which of these two Gradey plays is more impressive? This one was just awesome, man. That's freaking awesome. I'm so sad I made that Michael Jordan commercial because honestly, like this would have been the highlight of the Michael Jordan commercial. Look at that. Look at that. You got Anthony Edwards behind you. You got Rudy Gobert, defensive player of the year, coming at you to have even like unbelievable, unbelievable, you know, crazy. That's just such a crazy play. Let's watch that one more time. Okay. Navigate 1, 2, 3, and then boom, a fadeaway. Look at where he started. Look at where he finished. I think that was like the play of the night for me. That was like one of the plays of the night. It was awesome. All right. Now let's take a look. Once again, you know that the game that Ernie and Shaq play, who he play for? Whose fault is this one? Because this is like I was actually scratching my head because I couldn't figure it out. This pass is whipped at Scottie's head. Okay. I need you to look at that. Like, is that a good pass? You're whipping the pass at his head and it slips out of his hand. We could say it's a Davion mistake again. Ziggsaw Puzzle is saying he threw it at his throat, basically. Yeah. If I throw a pass at your head, I'm an asshole. Honestly, I'm just an asshole. I would never set up my big like that, Like, and when you play basketball competitively, you always know, or hopefully if you're a point guard, like when it's your bad. right? And you let them know at the next break, like, bro, my bad. I know you probably got the turnover on me there. I got you next time. That was messed up. My bad. It slipped out of my hands. Davion, geez, again, you're not good enough to play as fast as the Raptors want to play right now. And that's partially the talent here. I mean, you cannot be throwing passes like this at someone's head. Okay. Continuing on. It's a horrible pass. Okay. Now, this one, we need to turn down the volume because I definitely put the Carly Commando track on this. Bro, this defense is insane. Watch Jonathan Mobo one-on-one. I actually slowed it back. I slowed it down. Mohammed Lays, I don't mean to call you out, but please stop derailing the chat with other shit. We're not talking about the Rockets right now, bro. So I appreciate that you want to talk about the Rockets, but what you're actually doing, I don't know if you realize this, is you're actually derailing the conversation to something that I'm not talking about, which is like probably going to motivate people to go watch another game. That's just don't do that. It's not cool. Okay. Where Mobo happens. Let's take a look. I mean, this is just insane coordination. Jesus Christ. Like, that is one of the twitchiest guards in the league. This was some real OG Anunoby shit, man. This was absolutely an OG Anunoby type of, like, just watch Mobo's feet. Just watch his feet. Like, he's gonna dance dribble for dribble with Ant, and his hands are up the whole time, and he never loses that 2 feet. He never loses the 2 feet. Look at his feet the whole time. Boom. That's how they teach you. Like, boom, boom. It's like he's like a fucking shadow, bro. Like, he is a shadow. And in case you're missing it, that was the result. An absolute airball. Bro, I don't know how the fuck he played 9 minutes. I need answers. I need answers to why this guy played 9 minutes because honestly, I have seen OG Anunoby do this many times. I haven't seen a rookie that didn't go on to be an all-league defender do this kind of shit as a rookie. That is just absolutely, like, I don't know what the hell that was, but that was one of the most impressive plays of the night. Again, if you're counting, tons of impressive plays by Scottie, 23-year-old. Tons of impressive plays by Mobo, 22 years old. Tons of impressive plays by Gradey, 20 years old. The future is very bright. Now, here's another great read by Scottie Barnes. And again, proof that if you move, he will find you. Boom. Great pass. Not too much to read into there. We see Scottie do this shit like 25 times. Okay. Now, here's what I mean by, like, what the hell do you want him to do? Okay. Now, if I'm Scottie Barnes right now, honestly, I break a clipboard in practice. Like, I know he didn't have a great game. I'm going to the locker room and I'm smashing something right now, especially if I actually wanted to win this game, because this is embarrassingly bad basketball. Watch this. Okay. Now, Scottie fakes the three. Randall, really crappy closeout. Now, is this a bad pass or is this a good pass? Honestly, if you're looking to pass this, if you're looking to catch this, this is a great pass. Now, Jakob has this, but it squirts out of his hand. What the mother? Bro, we were at 96, 104, and you drop that pass? How the hell do you do that, man? Watch it again. Boom. Perfect. And I mean, you had Gradey wide open too, and he's been having a super hot night, and you suck 3 to the ball, and Mike Conley's totally not in a place to recover. And I need answers, bro. I need answers from Jakob Poeltl, bro. Like, this is absolutely nuts. Do we need to put something on his palms? Because this is like some next level Butterfingers. This is like stuff like I used to watch from Aaron Baines and Kem Birch, okay? Not from a guy who's getting paid $20 million and, has been fancied as a bit of a decision maker in this offense. But the truth is, He's not being asked to make a decision here. He's been asked to make a layup. Okay. And I understand that that's Rudy Gobert, but you cannot be coughing up the ball like this in the clutch. You got 2 minutes to go, and your franchise player has finally woken up and is like trying to make a push, and he's found you for a wide open, well, I don't say wide open layup, but an advantage layup. And you need to hit that. Now watch this. This is like the type of thing I guarantee you're not hearing on any other show. I'll bet you this. Unless they copy this, I'll bet you anything you're not going to hear about this on any other show. Watch this. Okay. Now this is a Scottie isolation on Anthony Edwards. And I would say that as good a defender as people think Anthony Edwards is, I would trust Scottie to whoop his ass one-on-one if you isolate. The problem is, despite having a great night, Ochai Agbaji has a major brain fart. And if you watch the broadcast, I guarantee you will see the very next second when there's a stoppage, Garrett Temple talks to Ochai Agbaji. Don't ever do that again. Watch this. So now Scottie is trying to create an isolation advantage against Anthony Edwards, and look at Ochai Agbaji. What the hell are you doing, bro? There is no chance in hell you are camping out in the freaking lane demanding a post up right now. You can't do this. Like, you need to cut through, take your man. Honestly, I would go to the opposite side and let him just have his space. Bro, this is crazy. And it's like, and Ochai's just like, okay, my bad. But now you left your defender, and because the angle of the pass is not there, you've completely fucked up the spacing. And now there's an extra defender to beat for Scottie Barnes. And luckily, Scottie, with his very loose handle here, ends up drawing the foul and gets bailed out with a couple of lines. But like, my God, like, this was an advantage, and it's not an advantage anymore. And sometimes your own teammates can become a huge detriment to your spacing, you know? Like, I'm just trying to be honest about it. Yeah. Okay, that's all. That's all for clips. Let me know if that was good. If that was good for you, like this video, absolutely. And we'll get to some callers, but let's get to some main takeaways on this. Not as many viewers as yesterday. I wonder why. Don't worry. I don't blame you. But this was a hard fought win. I mean, a hard fought loss. I'll say that. I don't think it was a great game by the Raptors by any stretch, but there were competitive moments. There were very high moments. There was some very good moments for Gradey Dick, incredible moments for Gradey Dick. There was a lot of progress from Ochai Agbaji. There were promising moments from Bruno Fernando, which, I mean, if you retain some semblance of hope that he can be productive, he had some good moments tonight. I think that Jonathan Mobo sequence was insane. I think that, in conjunction with him blocking Tyrese Maxey from a standstill yesterday, are like two of the most impressive defensive plays I think I've seen in Raptors history. Like, you got to understand the complexity of stopping a star one-on-one. There just aren't a lot of players in the world who can do it, and that's why the ones who can do it get paid like OG Anunoby did, right? So you have Jonathan Mobo on a rookie second-round deal. Like, the fact that he can even do this in a pinch. Admittedly, he has a million holes in his game. He can't shoot right now. He has issues finishing around the basket. But the fact that he can defend like this, pass like this, rebound like this, I made a lot of comparisons to Jonathan Mobo and Draymond Green. And this is the kind of thing that Draymond Green would do. Draymond Green would shut down a wing and make it look easy. Draymond Green would shade Anthony Edwards one for one in his prime, dribble for dribble. And that kind of hip flexibility and switchability on a wing defender is insane. Jonathan Mobo is a wing, which is really cool because he has the ability to play small ball big. He also has the ability to play point forward in a backup lineup. Jonathan Mobo is a steal of the draft. So far, I'm just putting it out there. He, Ryan Dunn, Jamal Shed have looked like absolute steals in this draft. We'll see which other steals emerge, but so far he's looked like one for sure. Nicholas saying can't shoot and has issues finishing around the basket. Sounds like Jakob Poeltl. Well, Jakob Poeltl has elite touch around the basket. Jakob Poeltl just can't catch a pass right now and can't make a pass right now. It's just there's something going on with his hand-eye coordination. I don't know what it is, but he's just not very sharp right now. And Scottie's not very sharp right now. Neither one of them are very sharp right now. They're all making a lot of mistakes. Maybe they're out of rhythm. And that's true. That happens in basketball. If I haven't played basketball in a really long time, if I tried to make a pass, everything would feel out of rhythm. I think Jakob Poeltl is going to be way better a month from now, but I wonder how much how much basketball he played this summer. right? Because sometimes like this is a rhythm thing. You know, when people say like that's my rhythm, like when you dribble, there's a rhythm to that. When you drive, there's a rhythm to that. Getting your shot off, there's a rhythm to that. Basketball is a game of rhythm. So when you don't play basketball for a couple of days, couple of weeks, you fall out of rhythm. You're going to see that with RJ Barrett. When he comes back, he'd been ramping up. He'd been going in momentum, momentum, momentum. You're going to see that with Bruce Brown. You're going to see that with Kelly Olynyk. All of these guys broke their rhythm and they're going to take a time to adjust. That's why it was so impressive how Manuel quickly came out because, you know, he looked good and he hadn't been playing basketball for a few weeks. So again, when you don't play 5-on-5 contact for a really long time, you fall out of rhythm and suddenly those passes are coming too fast. You know, the everything feels really fast for Jakob right now, which is really weird because he's a really smart player. And you can even see defensively, he's having a lot of trouble reading certain lineups, certain matchups. There's certain miscommunications, and he's like, wait, that. And just a year ago, you would see him communicate that so quickly. So everything is just slow for him. He's slow to react to the basketball. He's slow to react to cutters. He's slow to react to an opening. He's slow to react to a defender getting wide open. He's just slow right now. Mentally, his brain is processing the game a little bit slower. And I think that's usually a result of rhythm. Personally, I think that's usually a game result of rhythm and just not playing basketball for a while. Troy Knight saying, "Let's rewatch all of Grady's points." You can certainly do that on your own. I think I'm not really looking to get a copyright strike. We got a copyright call yesterday because of the post game, but you're free to definitely free to go watch that. Let's just take a look here. Anything else that sticks out overall? Let's take a brief look at just everything else that went around the league, and then I'm sure with the two callers we can get into some of the bigger takeaways. Boston narrowly beats Detroit, which continues a trend of Boston continuing to play down to their competition. San Antonio beats Houston, despite Houston mounting a huge comeback. Memphis beats Orlando. OKC, no surprise, beats Chicago. Cleveland beats the crap out of Boston. I'm sorry, Washington. Again, no surprises, no surprises. Miami uh, beats Charlotte, and the Clippers beat the Denver Nuggets. And that was not actually like that was a really crazy game. I actually caught that game. Nikola Jokic went off for a huge night. Huge night. 41 points, 9 rebounds, 4 assists, 2 steals, a block, 5 turnovers. Norman Powell exploded with 37 points and really came up huge for the Clippers. I thought that was just really depressing, you know, to watch how far the Nuggets have fallen. They fall to 0-2 to start the season. So I don't know if you need a silver lining, if you need a reason to feel good at night. Maybe just tell yourself the Raptors are currently ahead of the Denver Nuggets in the standings. I don't know. Does that help you? Anything else? Anything else stuck out? Yeah, let's take a look at this one as well. So 29 points for Jalen Green on 10 for 22. Cool. And we got a 29.7 rebound and 3 block performance from Victor Wembanyama, who hit 2 for 5 from 3. Again, bumpy roads, right? Another 3-point, 2-point type of game from Chris Paul, but obviously a table setter, and another impressive game from Jeremy Sohan, and that makes 2. So, you know, to all the people that say the Spurs wasted a pick on Jeremy Sohan, look at all that development, you know, that they wasted last year playing him at point guard. He looks much, much better this year. I caught very little of this game, but I thought it was pretty cool.
What was I was saying, yeah, it was a good game, but like Scottie kind of like not playing aggressive enough because like I think we said this last year. We went over this last year as well because he's not attacking the basket because he's a more willing passer. It's actually penalizing the team a little bit because they're not doubling him as much because they know he's gonna be passing, right?
I think they're doubling him plenty, but I don't think he's forcing the double.
He's not threatening. He's not threatening enough. I think, like as a scorer right now, that
should he threaten them? Yes, he should be phoning in some threats to them for sure. No, I know what you mean. You need to go a little bit further. Like you need to get more commitment from the defense. Like there was a play that we flashed yesterday, and you know where I think it was Kelly Oubre like overcommitted to Scottie, and then he found Jamal Shed when he was wide open going up the floor. It's the same thing, you know. Like you need to force a deeper commitment from every single defender before you make that kick out to Ochai or before you create. Because I mean, literally, there's nobody who can do what RJ Barrett can do right now. What RJ Barrett can do in terms of driving, the quick first step, the ability to get to the front of the rim, even like the ability to finish, some of this stuff has been really great. He's not
RJ's
as
also a
great.
better cutter, like
He's
overall.
he's a great cutter. So RJ plus Scottie will equal wins. The only thing of concern right now is where does your defense go if Scottie can't be like an amazing defender? And tonight, I think his defense was a problem. Now, I'm not hearing a lot of people talking about this, but I thought he missed box out assignments. I thought he was late on rotations. He missed rebounds. Like he was not active. Like he was not
He's
engaged
checked
enough.
out basically. Not entirely, just too on the defensive end at times. He was.
Yeah, he needs to be super wired in defensively. He needs to be a quarterback for the defense. He needs to communicate on defensive end. Now, I am empathetic once in a while when a person has a game like this, or even a couple games like this, where you have to be like, okay, maybe there's something going on in their personal life. Maybe there is like a plan to what they are doing or a method to the madness. But then in the fourth quarter, we did see Scotty dial up the energy and you saw a completely different effort. Not that the results were all that different, though. I mean,
It's
being
kind of
able,
late. It's a little bit late. Like the game was almost out of reach basically by the time he came online.
yeah,
Like
and it's like he's doing a lot of great things for this team. A lot. This is not me saying the same thing that
it's a
Josh
lot to
Smith.
ask for him. Let's be real. Like he's anchoring defense
Absolutely.
a bit. He's anchoring the offense. He has the lion's share of the offense right now, and he's anchoring a lot of the defense. But I think it's a growing pain. He has to be there. I think. Maybe he should sacrifice some of the defensive assignments because he has mobile now to do the ball handle, like be the on ball defender, right? Maybe he can just play the Giannis type role in the back, rim protector, and then do transition because then he would get the rebound and then get fast break points. I think. I don't know. I'm not a coach, so I have no idea what's better. But there was one play I didn't like at all. Like do you remember 3 minutes left with the fourth quarter? He
Mhm.
gave the ball to Davion, and then Davion he was out of the screen. He was like role playing as Pascal Siakam. If you remember those low light videos, he was not
Mhm.
on the screen at all. 3 minutes left. He gave Davion a ball in the corner. Davion and Yak started cooking, but like he's not involved in the play at all. I was like, where is this guy? I really hated that. Do you remember
Yeah.
that play?
Yes, I do actually. And there were a few plays like that where late up the court and look, like this is not going to become a Scotty slander,
I'm
pod or
not.
whatever,
Yeah, I don't
right?
hate him. It's just
We're not doing that. What we are is being 100% honest about what we're seeing on the court. And I did not see a good Scotty game today. And I guarantee you when the analytics come out later tonight, it's going to reflect that 1000%. I can tell you with confidence beyond unreasonable doubt that he had a negative box plus minus tonight. He's already negative on the season because it was underwhelming disaster class in game one, in which he posted, I think, a negative 20 box plus minus, which is fucking ridiculous. He is off to a terrible start to this season. Like he's off to the worst start of his life in any season he's ever had. This is the worst he's ever started. And I know a lot of people are not going to see that because they just following the box score, but I'm following like the game.
the
And
BPM, like
it's
not the
not
BPM. Sorry,
it's not
VORP.
just it's not just the VORP, it's not just the box plus minus. Of course, they are very, very linked. It's not just the win shares, it's not just the true shooting percentage, it's not just the engagement level defensively. It's not just it's not all the analytics. I'm watching with my eyes. Scotty has started out like gangbusters every single year. Every single year. Every year he has been like lights out of the gate.
Do you think he's just not 100% right now? Either mental or physically.
I don't know. Maybe he's not 100% physically. He looks really gassed at times. I think being kind of like late to training camp, like missing that 1 week, he's obviously had a very huge thing happen in his life, right? Like he's just had a
Yeah,
kid.
the child. Yeah.
That's huge. And he's playing with possibly the worst team I've ever seen, other than like the 95-96 expansion Raptors. Like when you take a real, honest, hard look, not a single player that he is playing with would start on most teams. Like, I'm being honest. Jakob Poeltl is not a starting center on most teams, and he's his
Do you think
best
Jakob
teammate.
is a top 20 center in the league? What do you
Yeah,
think?
he's probably like top 22, top 20. Yeah, he's in that conversation, but honestly, not for long. And he's like I see more talent. Like I see bigs like coming off the bench. I could see him starting in certain situations. Maybe he starts on
I feel like he could
8 to
like
10
take the
team.
undergarment role on the Sixers, like similar.
Yeah.
So I don't think
Patrick's
he's very good in that
Yeah,
sense.
Patrick Smale saying Scottie is not a superstar, period. I think he is a superstar, and I think he will show it later this year, but he is not playing like one right now at all. He has played terribly so far. I think he needs to be more accountable on defense. I think he needs to be way more assertive offensively. And I understand the complications of trying to carry an offense this bad. I get it fully. So if there is some sort of, understanding between him and Darko, like, hey, we're throwing the first 10 games of the season, fuck it, like, fine, you know. But it feels like boxing out is a simple thing that Scotty used to be really good at, and not boxing out enough. Him having 6 rebounds, 7 rebounds is not cool. He's playing in the lower third of the defense, and again, like this is a player who is like entire game was motor, at Florida State, even in high school. Like I've never seen I didn't used to see Scotty taking plays off in high school. But right now, it feels like there is an overcomplication of, how difficult his role is.
I think it's just
What
his role. He's adjusting still. We just need to give it time, basically.
Yeah,
With Scotty.
yeah. So I would like to see what will happen when RJ comes back. But yes, like I am very, very curious to see like how Darko feels about this, in terms of like, hey, like you're handing primacy, you're handing first option, you're handing total control of your offense to this guy, and he's handing the ball off to Davion. And he had moments like this last year. Let's be for real. He had moments like this where he's trying to defer to Jalen McDaniels, and you're like, what the fuck are you doing? Like, you gotta be kidding me. He goes through a week or two like this. It's never been to start the
I feel
season.
like Darko's just giving him all the worst possible lineups just so he's actually forced to take the shots.
Yes.
They're just giving him an ultimatum. You either take the shot or you lose the game. I feel like.
Yes. And T Dot's finest 97 saying first time in his life he's tasked with this kind of offensive load. No, absolutely. And this is the NBA, and these are tough teams. Like the Cleveland Cavaliers and the Minnesota Timberwolves are two of the best defenses in the league. In the league. You're not expecting a Scotty with zero spacing, Scotty who's already massively over leveraged as a de facto go-to scorer on a good team. Like he's like a 1B, 1A right now. Like he'll grow into 1A, I have no doubt. Like he's going to be a superstar, I have no doubt. He's going to be a top 14 player, no doubt. But right now he needs to play with more force. And again, playing with force is a risk. It's a risk to, burning yourself out. It's a risk to injuries, whatever. And he's come out like gangbusters every single year, and then he's gotten injured every single year.
Or
Like
maybe he's
clockwork,
like soft load managing, as in like trying to
almost.
stay healthy so that they get enough wins.
Yeah, I mean, like, he's a very like, I mean, I'm not kidding, right? Like every single year we've seen him come out like crazy, right? And then it was the
Yep.
first year he got injured, and then he missed like 5, 6 games. I think it was around November, December. Then there was the second year where he got injured on that ankle sprain, and he just never got right again. So maybe he's just kind of like, okay, let's wait for all the pieces to come back before I start like sprinting full speed. And it's also important to realize, and I think again, like talking to a lot of trainers, that you don't want to go from 0 to 100. You got to ramp yourself up slowly. So it's perfectly possible that he probably could have, taken a little bit more time to ramp himself up before preseason, because that first preseason game was awful, you know, and then that last preseason game was all right. But that Boston game, he has yet to mimic that type of performance in regular season so far. So I'm just looking forward to, but I'm seeing like glimmers and hopes of a 41-42 win team here, because when Scotty starts to play like a superstar, like a 8 to 10 boxes minus guy, and I'm already seeing pieces of it. The passing is super sharp. Like the shooting form looks perfectly fine, even though they're not going in right now. Like he's going downhill and just not finishing. He is, you know what I mean? Like he's just a little bit
The
smoother with his
touch is like
handle.
not smooth right now, especially
Yeah,
like the midi. I think
he
he's
feels
trying the
rusty.
midi, but like it's sometimes missing, sometimes not. It's like
Yeah,
he's going to it, but I
yeah,
think he just needs to
yeah.
work on it. There's a couple other things I want to talk about. Do you think this matchup?
Hold on one second. I need to
Yeah.
address this. James, Scotty needs new trainers in the offseason. He still has no bag.
What?
You're insane. Like, get like, it's just like I would love to
Yo, why don't
be,
you start training
bro.
him, bro?
Bro, I would love to beat your ass one-on-one in basketball right now. Like straight up. Meet me like by the park. Bro, like why do people act like they are experts at like training athletes? Did you understand? Like it irritates me beyond belief where a guy goes through 1 or 2 games. He just put up 22, I think 22 points against the Minnesota Timberwolves, and he was playing with Davion Mitchell. He's doing things that were almost impossible for him to do just a year ago. Like, have a little bit of patience, bro. Like, my God. Like, I'm not trying to come at you, but like every single time people do this shit, like he needs a new trainer, you're echoing the stupid Reddit
I
talking
don't think
points.
our
Don't do
guy.
that.
I don't think Wolves fans hate Ant as much because even Ant is a flawed star. I
Bro,
don't think
Ant
he's a
is so
superstar.
flawed. Ant has like 8 turnover games every now and again. He has like crazy shooting nights every now and again.
Yeah, like a
I've
couple
never seen a
airballs
fan
today,
base
bro.
be so bipolar about a player. We're trying to be fair. Don't make me like, you know what, I'm not trying to be like emotionally unhinged here. I'm trying to keep composure. I try to be fair about Scottie, but then people go like way too far. Like he's a bum, he's this, and then I get super defensive, and now I have to like highlight all the wonderful things he does. Then I get called a Scottie Glazer. I am never going to be
There's a
down on
middle
Scottie.
ground. There's a middle ground.
There's totally a middle ground. Like there's totally a middle ground. You can say he didn't play well, but you can't just discount everything he did last year, bro. Like that was a huge sample size. He didn't just forget how to play basketball. He's a much better player today than he was, and believe me, part of it is because Brian's a hell of a trainer. Insane. Anyways, people used to complain about Cade spacing. He had Isaiah Stewart. He had Jaden Ivey. Those are good shooters. Okay. Last year, people were complaining about his spacing. He had lights out shooters on his team. Scottie has Gradey and Jamison Battle. That is about it. That is the only 2 players on this team that are commanding any amount of respect. Ochai commands 0 respect. He's open for every single 3. Jakob Poeltl clogs the paint. Ochai Abaji cuts into the paint, and his man just sags in the paint. You're going up against an elite defense. There's nowhere to move. Now, Scottie is not Joe Johnson. He is not RJ Barrett. He is not DeMar DeRozan. He is not those players. So really, you can hate him for not being those players. You can criticize it. You can say, "Wow, why is LeBron James not Steph Curry?" Because when every time LeBron misses a 3, you need to appreciate stars for what they actually do and what they do well. Scottie did 100 things well tonight. He did 100 things not well tonight. We can be fair about the things that he didn't do well, and we can call them out fairly because that is fair analysis. It's not fair analysis, in my opinion, to single-handedly peg this loss on him, call him stupid, say that he's a bad player, say that he'll never be a superstar, or that he needs a new trainer. I think that that extends into the realm of hating. That extends into the realm of illogical and completely batshit crazy basketball analysis, and I'm not gonna entertain it, right? So you can say he had a bad game. I said he had a bad game. He had a bad game. You're supposed to have bad games. That's what stars do. You know, I remember actually, I remember the meltdown. Do y'all remember the game that Joel Embiid had against Nick Nurse and the Raptors? Do you remember that game where Joel Embiid really struggled and he turned the ball over? Do you remember the game where Kevin Durant turned the ball over, I think like 6 or 7 times against the Brooklyn, with the Brooklyn Nets when the Toronto Raptors were playing him? Crazy, Scottie was being super assertive, OG was being super assertive, and then Joel Embiid had that 0-0. Joel Embiid had 0 points against the Toronto Raptors. Somebody had 0 points against the Toronto Raptors. It was crazy. Do you remember the Nikola Jokic 0-point fourth quarter against the Toronto Raptors? Do you remember that? Because I do. I remember Scottie Barnes guarding Nikola Jokic in the fourth quarter. Do you remember Steph Curry's difficult as fuck game last year? The worst game of Steph Curry's life came last year against the Toronto Raptors. In fact, I'm going to pull it up for you just so I can prove a point because I am goddamn irritated. Hang on. Okay. Steph Curry. We're going to go to the game logs, and I'm going to show you this because it's actually crazy. Take a look. So here's an average Steph Curry game, just for context. So an average Steph Curry game last year was 5.2 box plus minus, 6.3 offensive box plus minus, and a 31% usage. Okay, just keep those numbers in mind when I show you what he did against Scottie Barnes and OG Anunoby. And basically, it was Scottie who just absolutely took the task of shutting the shit out of him. Where is it? Where is it? Game log. Here we go. Game logs. If I'm not mistaken, it was last year, right? I'm pretty sure it was last year. Let's check. Okay. What? Okay, here we go. Switch to advanced game log. Sort for box with minus. There you. Oops. So at the time, it was the worst box plus minus game of his career, but he proceeded to have a worse game against Boston. But this is what Steph Curry did against Boston and Toronto. He had a negative 21.8 box plus minus game, and he had a negative 18.3 box plus minus game against Scottie Barnes. And at the time, this game right here, where Scottie shaded him the entire goddamn game, let's take a look at his numbers from that game. So again, this is a guy who is an all-star, all-NBA, one of the greatest players of all time, and this is the game that he put up against Scottie Barnes. Hang on, where the hell is it? Where is it? Where is it? Where is it? Where is that Toronto game? Here we go. Nope, that was not it. There was another Toronto game. I think it was earlier in the season. There we go. So this is the game. In this game, he shot 2 for 14. He shot 0 for 9 from 3, 5 for 5 from the free throw line, 6 assists, 9 points. So 4 times last year, if we're counting, Steph Curry went for single digits. He went for 7 points in 31 minutes against Portland. He went for 9 points against Philly. Toronto was on a heater at the time. They lost the game to Toronto. So Toronto beat Golden State last year. Steph had 9 points, and he went for 4 points against Boston. It's worth noting, again, through entire life, I'm not kidding. Steph Curry's entire career, he has never played more than 20 minutes ever and had a negative box plus minus that significant. So, what am I saying? I'm saying stars have bad games against good defenses because good defenses are built to stop stars. Scottie Barnes is number 1, number 2, and number 3 on everyone's scouting report. When Emmanuel quickly comes back, when RJ Barrett comes back, his life will be easier. The fact that he cannot generate clean, easy looks for himself is not diminishing the fact that he generated at least 15 clean, easy looks for his teammates tonight. That's what you want an offensive engine to do. That was my big beef with Paolo sometimes and Cade, is that they don't generate the cleanest offense for others. Paolo is much better this year. Cade is much better this year. But in years past, my issue was, how great a job are you doing facilitating and creating offense for others? Scottie's doing a great job of creating offense for others. The passes that he hit to Boucher were open. They were open threes. He's finding Davion open. He's finding Jamison Battle open. He's finding Jakob open. He's finding Grady open. I mean, you make a few more shots tonight, you don't drop a few passes, he has 14 assists. The potential assists are probably off the chart. So, again, not a great game by Scottie standards. Not a superstar game by Scottie standards. But this is exactly the type of game that a player like him is supposed to have against a team like that. Exactly. If you were expecting him to go out and put up 35 points and splash 7 threes and have 12 rebounds and 10 assists, that would have been great. I'm sure a lot of people got hyped about that. But that's not the normal game you're supposed to have against a team like that. And they're not just going to let you do it because they're not stupid. Maybe you could have a game like that when RJ and Emmanuel quickly are sucking away some of the defensive help, and then you have wider gaps. Maybe you can have a game like that when Kelly Olynyk is on the court and not Bruno Fernando and Chris Boucher. Maybe you can have a game like that, but not with this roster. It's going to be really hard. So I try to explain this as many times as I can. We're going to be fair. We're going to be fair across the board. We're going to call good games. We're going to call bad games. It doesn't matter if I really, really like the player, like with Scottie, or if I really, really have issues with the player, like Davion at times, or especially Bruno Fernando. It doesn't matter. Ulrich's good games and bad games are going to be called the same. He's always going to be treated as a rookie. He's going to be given the same leash and extension as other rookies have been extended to. I complained last year that Pascal Siakam didn't box out many times. Scottie didn't box out a lot of times tonight. So I called it out. That's called being consistent. That is not an invitation for you to suggest that Scottie Barnes didn't work hard, that Scottie Barnes needs a new trainer and all this other stuff, which is just extracurricular and quite frankly, absolute bullshit and does not need to be said. If you If you are so small in your life, if you are so bitter in your life that the only way to dissect a game is to like annihilate a person's character or annihilate the people around them, then maybe just go do something else or maybe find a different community. We don't have to do that. We don't have to necessarily say, Davion needs to find another profession or he needs to find a new trainer. Like he's just not a great basketball player. And I think we can be honest about it. Maybe some people have an issue with me saying Davion is not really a really good NBA player, and we can talk about that. But you cannot tell me that a player as good as Scottie Barnes needs your advice, Mr. Chat, on how to fucking train in basketball. Like, there has to be. Grim Reaper saying Tatum might drop a 50 piece on Kerr's head. Well, the Golden State Warriors have been winning games by an average of 38.5 points per game. And just an FYI, Tyrese Maxey is everybody's darling, right? How much trouble is he having through the first two games as the Sixers move to 0-2? I checked. Not one fan is sitting there saying Tyrese Maxey needs a new trainer. Tyrese Maxey is regressing. Tyrese Maxey is trash. Tyrese Maxey is this, because they're not stupid. You see, they're not saying these things because they're not ridiculous. Tyrese Halliburton had 0 points last night. 0 points. And I went to an Indiana board and they were just like, man, Tyrese needs a break. There was so much empathy for it. There's so much empathy for it. And by the way, it's not the first time Tyrese Halliburton had 0 points. Tyrese Halliburton had a 0-point game last year too. And again, I don't see this happening to anybody else. Now, it's one thing if a Detroit fan who really likes Cade and really hates Scottie comes here and tries to troll us. But most of the people, like really maligning Scottie, are actually Raptor fans. And that's never sat right with me. It's really disgusting. And I wish y'all correct that behavior. Anyways, talk to y'all later. This has not been a very productive live. And I wish that it could have been more positive. I thought we started out well.
Gradey, what was allowing you to just get into the flow that you got offensively?
I mean, really just taking what the defense gave me. Just shooting when I was open. Scottie brings a lot of attention, when he drives the ball, and that's why it's amazing playing with him. He opens up a lot of gaps for me to be in for my shots, and hopefully I get, to him vice versa when I'm knocking some down. But, yeah. Really
I know that defensively you and Evo have been working closely on kind of making that happen, and then you have a couple of scrappy plays today. What do you think you saw out there that kind of allowed you to make those plays, especially the one on Anthony Edwards where you're kind of going after the ball?
I'm just being more aggressive, not letting the ball handler come to me and where I'm kind of on my heels, different things like that. Me and Evo, like you said, have been working on that before, after practice, and shoot around before this game of what we're kind of seeing on the scouting report. So all that.
I mean, obviously this is a tough matchup, but it feels as though your group doesn't care or shrink in the moment when it comes to who you guys are guarding. What do you think you all have in common in the locker room that allows you to go out there and to be as scrappy as you guys have been?
I think just love for each other. I mean, the chemistry that we've, built from the off season, definitely, letting us hit the ground running, but, just really just trying to figure out how to put all that together really at the end of the day. It's a tough loss today, but, I mean, the only positive thing was, we didn't really let up all the way until the end. So, I mean, that's a highlight, but at the same time, we're not ever satisfied with that, and we're not going to be till we do something really cool at the end of the year.
Coach, before the game, you had talked about the fact that you liked the guys weren't letting things kind of get away from them against Philly. Kind of happened tonight, but in the ways in which they were able to get back to, say, an 8-point lead and cut that down, what was present, do you think?
I think, first of all, we played a really good team. Our start to the game, I don't think that we did good enough job of just being logged in what we need to do and how disruptive we need to be against this type of a team. They got the early lead in the first quarter, but after that, I thought they really fought for the rest of the game, and at the end, we kept them in the fourth quarter just scoring 23 points, brought the game back to 8 points. What I really like about our guys, they never quit during the game. When they had runs, we did not quit. We continued fighting. We found a way to keep that game close.
What do you think it is about their collective mindset that allows them to not shrink in the moment when they do have matchups like this, scouts like this with Anthony Edwards, Rudy on that scouting list?
It's just taking the challenge on. Like when you play against this type of players, you want to see where you at. How much you can compete against this type of talent and what you can learn from it and get better from it. So I thought that this was really good test for us tonight.
Career high for Gradey as well. What did you like in terms of how he was able to get in flow on offense?
His shooting is well known, but he's finding more ways of scoring. I thought that he was very active. I thought that the teammates did a good job of finding him when he was open. He just plays with a lot of motor, with a lot of energy, and he had a good game tonight. And I also thought that he was really good defensively as well. Big time play towards the end of the game, guarding Anthony Edwards and getting that steal, diving on the floor. He did a great job.
Yeah, Gradey talked about spending some time with Evo on the defensive side of things. How have you seen that progressed, and what's your goal for Gradey to become a better two-way player?
It's exactly that. He needs to work a lot. He needs to be on the ball, focused off the ball, to start recognizing situations. For young players, usually it takes like 2, 3, 4 years for the game to slow down, so they can understand personnel type of actions that they are coming that way, how they can sniff it out and be ready to guard those. And he's on the pace. He's doing a good job, and he's improving on the ball and off the ball.
And Ochai, just the energy he was able to provide tonight. How have you seen him evolve since your time with him when he came in last February?
One thing that Ochai is doing a really good job, he's embracing his role of really playing aggressive defensively, to be a really good off-ball cutter, to go for offensive rebounds, to do a lot of small things. And then he's just trying to play the right way as well. When he has open shots, he has a green light to shoot them. Tonight he made 3 out of 5. I thought overall that he had a good game.
Is there any specific feedback that he's asking of you guys in terms of like just ways that he can grow for himself?
I mean, we were constantly having conversations with him and with all other players how to take it to the next level. And one of the most important things is to be everyday guy, to show up and to bring great things to the team every day.
And 2 more for you. Scottie's hands, okay? Yeah.
Yes.
And then also just the reads that he's been able to make, the passing. How have you seen him kind of step up into that leadership role? And what does that say about a player like Scottie to have all these new guys in the mix and to still kind of get them going at this point too?
It's a learning process for him. He's learning personnel and teammates that he has around him. He's trying to figure out the spacing, how he can be effective, but also how to involve his teammates. I thought that he did a really good job in the second half tonight. First half, he was lacking a little bit of motor to start the game, but I'm really glad that he found it during the game.
I'm glad that he brought that up. I'm glad that he acknowledged it. Like I didn't love Scottie's motor in this game. He needs to play harder for sure. We can be honest about that, and so can he. And I think that's the cool thing about Scottie is that he would acknowledge that he would acknowledge that he had a bad game. He would acknowledge that he needs to play better. He'd acknowledge when he's made a mistake. And again, to people out there who have never performed like this, it's hard. You have games where nothing is going and your shot is not falling, and it's tough. Every star has games like this. Every one of them. Even the Michael Jordans of the world had real stinkers, man. And over a course of a year, it evens out and you end up with like 24 points per game. But man, 24 points per game is full of like 8 points, 36 points, 40 points. We cannot be calling a guy the best player in the world when he has 40 and saying trade him when he has 2. I've never seen a fan base this bipolar in my life, and I'm telling you, I've been following sports for a very long time. What the Raptors are doing with Scottie is wholly unique. I don't think I've ever seen anything like this in my life, from a fan base to their own star player who has done nothing but embrace them, nothing but embrace the city, nothing but embrace his teammates, nothing but a really positive community member. For this fan base for there to be so many of you because of how the media has covered him, in my opinion, how some of the talking points about him and professionalism, body language, work ethic, and all the negative things that have been said about him, it's almost like there is a segment of this fan base that is literally preying on his downfall. Like almost like they're praying for days where he goes 2 for 12. I've never met a Minnesota Timberwolves fan who's praying for a 2 for 12 performance from Anthony Edwards so they can talk shit. So if you are one of those people who is praying on the downfall of any one of these players, believe me, check yourself. Check yourself, check your mental health. Go to a clinic, go touch grass. Honestly, I'm gonna just say this honestly, go fuck yourself. If that's your attitude towards your 23-year-old star player, you need help. You need major help. You need therapy. You need a lot of therapy. You probably need to punch you probably need to punch a brick. Like it's insane to me that you would have this energy and there are people in the media who have that energy towards him and I don't get it. What has he not done for you? What the fuck has he not done for you? You said he was a project. He was a zero level scorer. He came out and averaged 15 points per game. And you were like, okay, let's move the goalposts. He's got to be an all-star next year. Then he struggles in year 2, and you say what? He regressed. He has work ethic issues. But if you take a wider glance, where he was at Florida State to where he is in year 2 is like pretty much further than you pretty much thought he'd ever be. And Scottie Barnes in year 1 was a better player than Patrick Williams has ever been at any point in his life, and they both went 4th overall. See, players see this negativity, and sometimes I wonder at what point the negativity of this fan base actually just gets to the players. It's almost like the negativity of Philly fan base gets to the players. A toxic fan base will create a toxic team. I have no doubt about this, that this is true. Fans have a power to be positive and uplifting. And if you can't be a fan like that, maybe go find a different sport to watch. I'll check y'all later. Have a good one. And again, I would feel very differently if he was doing something actively wrong, or if he was destroying his teammates, or if he was being a big ball hog, or he was selfish, or he was checking out again. He's not doing that. He's trying his best. Believe me, he's trying his best. Just because two things can be true. You can be trying your best and you can be playing like ass. Nobody is questioning Davion Mitchell's motor and work ethic right now. Nobody. He's trying his best. Davion Mitchell is not coming out and trying to do this. Jakob Poeltl is not trying to drop passes. He's dropping passes. This is something he needs to fix. But we don't need to attack Jakob Poeltl as a person because he's dropping passes. We can call it what it is. See, there is a gap, right? You can say Pascal Siakam set a soft screen or Pascal Siakam missed a box out assignment without the Pascal Siakam is deliberately tanking his team, and Pascal Siakam is the worst player in the world, and Pascal Siakam is talentless hack, and Pascal Siakam needs a new trainer. See, I think these things go too far. Did I go too far in the past with some of the Fred VanVleet stuff? I'll be 100% real. Yes, I did. Yes, I did. 100% I did. And if you're trying to come back at me for that, please understand, I apologize 100%. I was wrong. Please, let's move on. Let us not keep doing this, because what happens is I am unfortunately very sensitive to the push, and I push back, and then you push, and then I push back. And then we end up in a situation where I'm telling you why Scottie Barnes is going to be an all-star and screaming at you like Darko Rajakovic was screaming at that from me. Like, Scottie Barnes is going to be an all-star. He's going to be the face of the league. Like, I'm doing that because it's just frustrating to me how, and it's like, especially when I see your avatar is like a Raptor. You know what I mean? Like, it doesn't bother me when Philly fans do it. They should hate Scottie. It's fine. It doesn't bother me when Orlando fans come in every single time Scottie has a stinker being like, you said Paolo was better than this bum. That's normal. But to prey on the downfall of your own player just so you can talk a little shit on Reddit, like, what is wrong with you? What's wrong with your life? Jeez. Okay, 84 comments. What do they do when Austin Matthews to score 35 a night? Don't get it. No, it's true. DeRozan fans used to hate on J-Val. Will Lou used to openly root against JV. Really? Why? Why? If this fan base pushes Scott out to town, I'm never watching the Raptors again. Troy Knights with the most sensible comment of the night, and I'm going to let this be the thought of the night. This team is working its butt off. These guys deserve your respect. They deserve your support. None of you, most of you, have ever worked as hard for 40 minutes as this team did against Philly. This is exhausting. To do this on back-to-back nights, I guarantee you most of you would not survive 1 minute on an NBA court. And I'm not just saying that to be demeaning. I wouldn't survive 1 minute on an NBA court either. What these guys are doing is hard. Taking a screen from an Andre Drummond, getting boxed out and punched in the back by Andre Drummond, you're sore the next day, falling apart like Chris Boucher. You have to understand how hard the Raptors have to play to even stay in these games. Okay. So the fact that Scottie doesn't want to burn himself out so that he's completely gassed for the entire season because he tried to win a few games in the beginning doesn't bother me. It doesn't bother me at all. He's figuring it out. Also, Scottie is one of those players that has like a mapping thing where when a new situation presents itself, he has to take a little bit of time. I've noticed this every single year with him. I noticed this in his rookie season. You know, he was doing great. Siakam came back. Suddenly the whole thing was different and he like suddenly regressed for like a whole month. He has this. When he has new teammates, new situation, new offense, defense, he always takes time to adjust. And that's okay. That's perfectly fine. That's not an abnormal thing for a player who's as connected to his teammates as he is offensively and defensively. I didn't love his effort tonight. I didn't. But who the fuck am I to say? He burned himself out last night. He played pretty well. And, you know, tonight he had a really tall task. I think this team overall deserves your respect. If you're someone who's just looking at like supporting the wins and losses, I can't stop you from doing that. But I'm going to watch every single game this year, every single game. And I'm going to root super hard for the Raptors to win every single game. Even when I may secretly, deep down, really want a draft pick, I'm going to super hard. I'm going to root super hard for this team because I think that when you're in Jamal Shad and you know you're trying your best, and Jameson Battle, and you're trying your best, and Chris Boucher, and you're trying your best, the last thing you want to see online is tank for flag, because that's the kind of thing that breeds negativity and toxicity. And I don't want to actually make Darko Rajakovic and Jamal Mali's job any harder than it already is in terms of correcting this batshit crazy culture that existed 2 years ago. This team deserves your respect. They deserve my respect. They deserve the media's respect. And if you want to malign them for not beating the Minnesota Timberwolves fully healthy on the road, go bang your head against the wall. Knock yourself out. Be miserable. I don't care. I'm going to choose to root for this team as a positive thing and a lot of growing lessons. And you know what? All I told you before the season started is I don't care about wins and losses. It doesn't bother me. I don't care. Lose 20 games in a row. I don't fucking care. This is disinvested. Don't care. All I care is that at game 82, there is notable improvement across the board. What I saw Gradey Dick do today, is something I could not have in my wildest dreams imagined him doing last year. And I was high on him. I could not have imagined him hitting a floater and a pullback jumper like that on Rudy fucking Gobert. That's crazy. With the lack of spacing, you imagine what this guy's going to be able to do when IQ and RJ come back? When Scottie is like fully dialed in? When Jakob is not dropping passes? Like Gradey is legit. He's legit and he's trying his best on defense. You can clown him and say, you know, he's negative on defense. He's not that negative on defense. He busts his ass every night. He busts his ass and he's 20. He's 20 years old. He's about to turn 21, you know? I'm just going to be really honest. I don't like I don't like this fan base. Y'all are cool. I like you. But the average Raptor fan, when I go to Raptor games, I can't stand it. Maybe that's just my experience. Maybe that's my experience going there and seeing a lot of corporate suits who aren't rooting or super late to their seats or super chatty, just on their phones, not really cheering for the team. But I really like this team. I really do. I want them to do well. I don't mean to sound like a super fan. I don't mean to sound unhinged, but I'm just being honest about it. I really don't like the way that certain Raptor fans go about their fandom. And maybe certain Raptor fans don't like how I go about my fandom. But I'm always rooting for this team to do well. And I think they're doing a really good job so far. Wins and losses will come, maybe. Maybe more wins will come later in the season when you're healthier. But again, if progress and growth was what you were after, if assets were what you were after, if young players showing promise is what you were after, I think you're seeing a ton of promise from a lot of your young players. I think you saw a lot of promise from Jamal Shad last night. I think you saw a lot of promise from Gradey in the first game, as well as Gradey in this game. I think you've seen a lot of progress from Jameson Battle and Jonathan Mobile. And yes, in spite of struggles, I think you're seeing a lot of notable progress from Scottie Barnes as well as he navigates how to be a first option on a team that is this depleted of talent. So, anyways, positive game for Bruno Fernando made my night. I'm very happy for him. Talked a lot of shit about him the last 2 games. Really happy he picked it up and hopefully he can continue it. Onward and upward, Toronto Raptors face the Denver Nuggets, a very desperate Denver Nuggets team that is going to come in thirsting for blood on Monday. They are, if you want my honest opinion, they're probably going to lose that game unless they get super healthy. And honestly, if they get super healthy, they're probably still going to lose that game. That is a very desperate team in a must-win situation. You are going to get the Denver Nuggets' biggest blow. And if you do not come prepared, you're going to lose by 40. In fact, the Raptors are so talent depleted right now without RJ Barrett and Emmanuel Quickley that any game that they do not actively prepare for, they're going to lose by 40. So get prepared for it. Raptors need to learn, and these are growing pains of being a young team. And to anyone who has ever done anything in their life, sometimes you have to be bad before you can be good at things. And I think that that's really important to remember and keep in mind when you are complaining about Jonathan Mobo taking threes, or when you are complaining about Urish Shamshay trying to make passes, or when you are complaining about Jamal Shed having 7 turnovers, is these are essential parts of growing. Gradey Dick, all those shots he was missing last year are the same shots he's hitting now. And there's a reason he's hitting them now. It's because he took them back then. Learn about progress. It's important. And hopefully, if you learn more about how these players are progressing, you can maybe apply it to your life and make your own life better. And if you're one of those people who is hating on Scottie Barnes and praying for his downfall because you just want to be right about it, maybe you're one of those people who desperately needs to improve your own life so that you're not so bitter. I'll talk to y'all later. Have a great one. Enjoy your night. Don't let a loss to the Minnesota Timberwolves sour your note. Don't let my pissy mood sour your note either. We will be happier tomorrow, but tonight I feel like I needed to get that off my chest. It was very annoying. And I noticed that every time Scottie has a rough game and the Raptors lose, that there's all these people that come out of the woodwork and they act like they are fucking pro trainers and basketball experts, and they're not. They're not. They have no idea what he's trying to figure out. They have no idea the complexity of what he's doing. They hardly see any of the good things he's even doing, but hopefully and thankfully his teammates do acknowledge it. What Gradey said, Scottie creates so many advantages. Go watch go watch so many of Gradey's baskets tonight. They were either open passes from Scottie, or they were great screens from Scottie, or it was Scottie sucking 2 defenders and finding Gradey. Like, again, advantage generation. Gradey is not creating advantages from a standstill. If Scottie's on the court, Grady's having a really tough night. Grady's already having really tough nights. Like his shot difficulty metrics are off the chart right now. So the fact that he's succeeding is honestly a testament to his work in the summer. But again, this team deserves your respect and your patience. I'll talk to y'all later and ramble. Bye-bye. Hit like on your way out.